Please subscribe and hit the thumbs up button so we can continue offering more family-friendly content like this. Thank you. Lee Olson, author. A frog to remember. Sophie raised her head off the pillow and stared out the window at the tree branches, softly blowing and snapping against each other. She rubbed her eyes and glanced across the room at Rachel, who was still snoring. She reached up and tugged the blanket above her several times to see if Robby was awake on the upper bunk. His reaction wasn't a happy one. "Sophie, stop it. I'm still tired," she whispered. "You should wake up, because it's the 4th of July and we need to get breakfast before we head to Walker for the big celebration." "We don't need to hurry, Sophie. The fireworks aren't until after dark tonight," shot back Robby. But the 8-year-old was too restless to lay there, so she slid into her clothes and headed for the bathroom to wash up and brush her teeth with her dog Nicky lying by her feet. Mum and Dad were still asleep, but Grandpa was staring out at the lake while sipping on his very hot coffee. "Hi, honey, you're up early. It's only 7 o'clock. "Couldn't sleep, Gramps. I'm too excited for the 4th of July. "That's a way off yet, honey. The fireworks display is only after dark. Maybe I can fix you some toast and jam. It would go down well with cold orange juice." Grandpa always knew what she needed, and she was grateful for that. Nicky wandered over to his dish and sniffed around so as to serve notice he was hungry too. "After playing those board games last night, everyone was tired. I guess we should put a time limit so we get to bed early enough," said Gramps. "But it's so fun when we all joke about who's the best player." "Yes, it is so fun. It's a lot more fun than video games." "That's for sure, Gramps." "You can put your life jacket on and go to the dock if you feel like it." "Okay, I'll take Nicky with me." Soon, she and Nicky were out the door, heading down the hill to the dock. "Oh my! What's that?" She was startled when a huge frog jumped in front of her. Nicky began barking and heading across the hill toward the leaping frog, but he was no match for the jumping amphibian. She reached the lake and sat on the bench. The sights and sounds of birds that flew in all directions, and especially the call of the loon, were like nature's music. She thought about her upcoming school year and the friends who would make the transition to 5th grade fun and easy. She began to doze off as her head bobbed forward. "Boo!" A voice suddenly startled her from the slumber. Her heart was pounding from fright. She whipped around and yelled, "Robby, don't do that. Are you trying to give me a heart attack?" "Oh, sis, heart attacks are for old people. Anyway, I'm just here to tell you breakfast is ready." "Okay, I'm coming up, but I saw a huge bullfrog jump right in front of Nicky and me." Nicky tried to catch it, but it was too fast. "I'm hungry too." Up they ran toward the cabin, and the wonderful aroma of Grandpa's cooking wafting out of the kitchen window. The scrambled eggs were soft and buttery, and the sausage spicy and dripping, as all 3 children had their fill from another of Grandpa's gourmet breakfasts. "I can't wait to get to town for the July 4th stuff happening. I guess there is going to be clowns and jugglers and stuff in the streets, a sidewalk sale, and a craft show in the park," said Rachel. "I heard that there is a frog jumping contest in the park. That should be really fun to watch," said Robby. "Oh, if only I could have captured that big frog I saw this morning down by the dock." "He would have won for sure," chimed in Sophia. "Thanks, G-Pops," as they all smiled at Gramps, which made him feel like he was a king. For truly, he felt he was a rich man due to the bounty of love between him and his family, especially his grandchildren. "You kids can fish off the dock if you like. Be sure to wear your life jackets and be careful throwing those lines out. Only throw underhanded. We don't want your day spoiled by pulling a hook out of an arm." "We'll be careful. Call us when Dad's ready to drop us off in town," said Rachel. Out the door, they scooted to grab some worms from the worm bed. But Robby had a better plan. "Let's go to the highway. We can visit the horses by the fence and collect some filbert nuts from the bushes along the way. They did just that, and ended up by the highway staring across the road at the dilapidated farm on the other side. Standing by the old barn was a large figure in well-worn overalls. They timidly waved at him. Dad always said to be courteous to everyone because you don't know their circumstance. He waved at them to cross the road and come meet him. They were very apprehensive. After staring across the road for a couple of minutes, Robby motioned for the girls to follow him. "It's okay, girls. He's not much older than we are. If I motion for us to leave, though, follow me back across the highway and fast." "Hi, my name's Chuck. Glad to meet you guys. Thanks for coming over. I don't meet any new kids very often." Robby began to feel at ease because he seemed to be a nice boy. Maybe he was just lonely for some company. Besides, Robby's father had told him that in most cases, if you treat others with respect and a smile, almost everyone will act the same in return. If that's not the case, it is best to leave immediately. So the conversations drifted to school and hobbies. Slowly, the two girls relaxed too. Rachel's hands gripped the red, weathered fence which separated them. She noticed his pleasant blue-eyed face and sun-bleached hair. He was just large for his age. However, he seemed to be of good character. The sounds of chickens clucking and an occasional rooster crowing in the distance were comforting. The old farmhouse itself had a rather ramshackle porch across the front, but tidy with flower pots and bushes, neatly trimmed along the sides. The old red barn leaned precariously to one side. "Hey, you guys know there's a frog jumping contest in Walker today, right?" asked Chuck. "I heard that," replied Robby, "but we don't have any frogs." "Maybe I can help you out. Wait right here." He hurried toward the open barn door and soon came out holding an old metal cage. The three siblings squinted to see what was inside and soon realized there were several large, sleek-looking frogs inhabiting the crate. "Cool," said Robby. "These are special frogs, guys. I've been raising them to be super-jumping frogs. They will only start jumping when you press this clicker." He reached into his pocket to retrieve a metal object, bent so as to produce a loud click sound when pressed. "I know this works, but be careful. Let them know you are their friend by stroking them on the back." The serious tone of his voice impressed on them the importance of these instructions. "I'll let you have 3 of them for only $10. I normally charge $10 apiece, but seeing as how we are neighbors, it's 3 champion bullfrogs for only a $10. "Wow, that's really nice of you, Chuck," said Robby, "but we don't have any money with us." He felt a tug on his shirt, and Rachel whispering, "I have money Dad gave me for the trip to Walker." Rachel hesitates, but digs in her pocket, pulls out a $10 bill, and hands it to the tall, blonde-haired boy. Dad was ready with the van motor running to drop the children off at the festivities in Walker. "What have you got there, kids?" Robby explained about the frogs. "Chuck says they are raised and trained to jump when you use a clicker. They have long, strong legs and they can jump real far, Dad." Dad's eyes rolled around in skepticism, but he didn't ask any more questions as the van continued on to Walker. The breathtaking view of Leech Lake came into view as Sophie's heart skipped a beat in excitement. "It's 1 o'clock now. The contest is at 2, so don't loose your little friends before then. Mom and I will be here at about 4 o'clock. We'll bring chairs for the fireworks and have dinner at the diner. Be careful." They were at the park on the south side of town. Sophie gently slid her hand into the small carrier and grabbed the frog that she had named Greta Thunberg. On her chest, the sleek green amphibian stared at her as she stroked her bright green back. "Will you jump far and fast for me, Greta?" she asked. Greta made a slight croaking sound she took as a yes. All 3 children had registered their frogs for the tournament. They made their way to the arena setup and waited for their turn. Rachel noticed that most of the frogs looked well-fed and chubby. The 3 jump lengths were totaling 14 to 16 feet. Finally, it was Robby and Mo who made their way to the circle. He set Mo on the green pad. On the signal, he squeezed the clicker. Mo jumped ahead as Robby stomped his feet behind, urging him on. "Come on, Mo, come on!" After 3 leaps, the distance jumped was 17 foot 2 inches. "That was really good, Robby," shouted Rachel. "I hope my beanpole can do as well." Sophie stood close to Rachel and held on tight to Greta, but she was slippery. "Next up is beanpole, handled by Robby Miller from Minnow Lake," the announcer yelled. Rachel made her way to the circle and placed beanpole on the pad. On signal, she squeezed the clicker. However, Greta thought it was her signal and leaped from Sophie's hands. She leaped across the circle in only 2 leaps. It was an incredible jump, but being out of turn, it wouldn't count. Sophie rushed to catch her as she fought her way through the crowd of visitors. "Stop, Greta, stop! Please, someone catch my frog!" But Greta was only leaping forward and soon found a perfect landing on top of Old Lady Pickering's flowery hat as she sat in her lawn chair with friends beside her. Mrs. Pickering was the mayor's wife and hadn't noticed her amphibian visitor. However, Judge Snafflebottom's wife was walking by and pronounced, "Oh, Flora, I do love the frog amongst the flowers on your hat. It looks so real." "What are you talking about, Bernice? I don't have any frog on my hat." She put her hand on her hat and felt a slippery, wiggly object. She began screaming and took off running through the crowd with Greta holding on and her feet flying behind her. The flowered hat was pinned to the poor woman's hair bun, and she couldn't rid herself of the headpiece. Sophie was close behind them as Mrs. Pickering headed into the Big Scoop ice cream parlor screaming, "Please help me! Get this filthy creature off my head!" No sooner had they burst through the door, but Greta made a giant leap onto a customer's double-decker strawberry sundae. "Holy moly!" the old gentleman yelled. "Now I've seen it all! It's an ice cream-eating frog!" He grabbed Greta and pitched her toward the service bar, sending her skidding across the counter with her slippery ice cream-covered feet. The startled owner quickly brushed her aside, and she landed on the lap of a very large lady sitting at a table who immediately began screaming in fear. Her table tipped over on its side. Ice cream cones and root beer floats were scattered across the parlor floor, leaving other patrons slipping and sliding in every direction. "Call the police! Call the police!" the lady shouted at the top of her lungs. Sophie leaped forward and grabbed the frog from her lap and turned to head out of the door. The curious street crowd surrounding the door outside was cheering and laughing as they parted to make way for Sophie and Greta. She ran down the street back towards the contest area, looking for her brother and sister. "Over here, Sophie, over here!" yelled Ben. The contest was over, and Rachel's frog had won the $200 first prize. "Greta had the longest leap," said Rachel, "but of course she wasn't qualified." "Anyhow, let's go back to the park," said Rachel. A few minutes later, Deputy Jim approached the 3 siblings. "Hi, kids. Do you know anything about the commotion at the ice cream parlor? I heard something about a frog causing some trouble. The mayor's wife is very upset, and I have to investigate this caper." "We hope you find the culprit, sir," replied Robby. Sophie was trying to look innocent, but Greta insisted on squirming under her shirt. "Something wrong with you, miss?" "Oh, no, Mr. Deputy. I just have a touch of poison ivy, sir. You know, from being in the woods or something like that," as she pretended to be scratching herself. "If you see anything unusual, you'll let me know, won't you?" As he turned around before leaving with a big smile on his face. "Oh, we certainly will, sir. You can count on us," shouted Rachel as Deputy Jim walked away. The food at the diner was most delicious, and the fireworks were beautiful that night in Walker. Since none of the children would ever tell a lie, They spilled all the details to Mom and Dad on the way back to the cabin. To their surprise, there was no negative feedback, but only laughter and giggles from the front seat. Sophie stared at Greta in admiration for her championship jumps in the ring. She realized that without her brother and sister to share her fun with today, it would not really be fun at all. With her parents too, she felt very lucky to be part of this family. Summer goes by too fast, she thought. All was well in the Miller family that 4th of July weekend. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe and check the thumbs up button so we can continue to offer more family-friendly content.